Alright, we're on the draw. This is a bad hand. If we had a green source or a blue source, this would be perfectly fine. Well, not perfectly fine, but it would be at least acceptable. We could cast either Traverse or Serum Visions. In the case of Traverse, you tutor up an island, and then you can cast spells. In the case of Serum Visions, you want a blue source, and then you hope to find more lands. This hand looks pretty good. We're gonna turn one Steam Vents. Hopefully slam a Delver. Our opponent mulled further than we did. We have a Serum Visions on top. That seems like a pretty good draw. Let's see what our opponent does. It's an Urza's Tower. Okay, the presence of Expedition Map makes me feel like maybe they have a second Urza land, and then they're just going to Tron on turn 3. Oh, maybe not. No, they don't. Okay, so they're going for the... They don't have another land. Our opponent mulled to 5, that's right. They don't have good things. Okay, so then we have a chance, guys. We have a chance. We only have the one blue source. If they're on red-green Tron, they could go land Pyroclasm, which makes me not want to commit a second Delver to the board. However, I don't think we want to hold up Spell Snare. So we're just going to Serum Visions. Hopefully find a blue source so that we can go Delver and have Snare up. Because we're looking to be pretty ahead with our opponent missing their second land draw. And starting off with 2 maps. That's a land. I almost want the Delver as well. Not first, though. I want the land first. Go to us. Our opponent might not even be able to crack either of these maps. They can. They're on green-black Tron. What that means is we can now safely commit Delvers. Sylvan Scrying makes me wish that we did hold up the Spell Snare, because they're back in the game. That's unfortunate. I don't think you hold up Spell Snare, though, just on the off chance that they have a green source and the Sylvan Scrying. Now, we do want to get very aggressive here, because our opponent can't have Tron for roughly 2 turns. So, we definitely play another threat. We can't commit the Hooting Mandrills, because we only have 5 total mana with Delve. So we're going to play this Delver, hopefully draw the next Delver. I hope they don't play anything that we need to counter. If they do, we're just going to counter whatever we got to counter. We can also Bolt Snap Bolt with some amount of regularity. So they're going to probably find a pretty good win con, and then do some board wiping. We're actually going to fetch, because I no longer want that Delver. Our opponent is now going too fast. If they had a slower hand, I'd want the Delver so we could get more threats. As is, I think we need to ship that Delver out and hopefully transform this one. If we bolt them, they go to 11. We swing with both. They go to 5. Snap Bolt won't finish them, which is unfortunate. I am going to fetch, and I do want another blue source. If we draw a Mana Leak, that would be basically the best thing ever. I do think we bolt them here. And that Lightning Bolt isn't going to get much better. They are much more likely to slam an Ugin next turn than a Karn. So with Karn, after they tick down to exile your dude, you can finish it off with a Lightning Bolt. You get 2 for 1, but at least you deal with Karn. With Ugin, no such luck. They're just gonna -1. I believe it goes by CMC, yeah. They're gonna -1. Mana Leak. Mana Leak, that's a Spell Snare. Spell Snare, unfortunately, does not do what we need done. We are gonna hit for 6, which is good. However, Ugin ticks down, and I think we need another Lightning Bolt to win this game. Or a Tarfire, because we Snap Bolt, and then they're left with 2 life. We also need to hold up Spell Snare for Collective Brutality. We actually might be able to do this. They're going to slam an Ugin. Okay, they slam Ugin. They wipe our board. They're tapped out. They go to our turn. On their end step, Snapcaster Mage, Bolt your face. Don't redirect to Ugin. They go to 2. Untap. Snap hits you for 2, you're dead. It's an O-Stone instead. I guess they're playing around the line that I was just talking about. I was almost certain they'd slam Ugin. I guess I'm wrong. Okay. We attack. We need to configure a board state in which we can get them to not have interaction, and then we can snap bolt, untap, kill. So I don't think we play this Hooting Mandrills. If we do, we don't have snap bolt up, and they're just gonna kill Hoots with Ugin. Of course, maybe we need to play Hoots so that we can force them into playing an Ugin? I don't know. I don't know. I think being proactive is better. So we might just tap a couple lands. Oh, I don't know. I think I really want to hold up Snap Bolt. I think it's our best shot to win now that they have Tron Plus. Because if we play Ugin, we're going to tap 2 lands so that we can keep this Lightning Bolt here for future Snap Bolting. We have 1 mana up. We can Thought Scour on their end step. Worm Coil is going to make all of my hopes and dreams fade away. We're gonna probably Thought Scour ourselves, but maybe we just have to Snap Bolt and pray that we draw Lightning Bolt. That might actually be the out. Because if we Thought Scour, we need to draw a Bolt or a land, because we can't Bolt Snap Bolt off of 3 lands, so we either need to Bolt on the end step right now, drawing it off of this Thought Scour, or we need to have a Bolt and a land in the 2 cards that we see off Thought Scour draw step. So, we're gonna hope and dream and pray. This also makes Simic Charm and Vapor Snag live top decks, because then we can bounce the Worm Coil and get in with Snap. So we are, there you go, that's Tarfire. That's an out. Tarfire U, is that game? That's game, there you go. You Snap Bolt there because off of 3 lands you cannot Tarfire Snap Bolt, and then we need the Thought Scour to draw us exactly a land so that we can Tarfire Snap Bolt. So there you go. They almost stole that game back. Not playing Ugin was probably really good on their part, although I can't say whether or not they were playing around what we were doing because we don't know what they were thinking. But I think we piloted that really well. I'm pretty happy with it. Against Tron, we like our land destruction. We do like pseudo land destruction effects. We like artifact destruction to deal with those pesky worm coils, and O-Stones that are cast before they can be activated. Curiosity is a very good card in this matchup because you put it on your threat, and then it lets you gas up. This is one of those matchups where you just want to chip in, draw a counterspell, counter their thing, chip in, draw something to deal with their next thing, maybe draw a bunch of bolts so you can finish them. Pyroclasm is horrendous. Surgical Extraction is good when your plan is to use actual land destruction, because you blow up a Tron land, surgical them out, now they can't Tron. It's a lot worse when your land destruction effect is a Blood Moon. So I don't think we actually want Surgical Extraction in this matchup. I generally board in at least 1 Huntmaster to increase our threat density, but I don't usually play 2 Snapcaster Mages. I've probably been playing this deck for almost a year and a half, and I've played 2 Snapcaster Mages for, I think, just a few months. So most of my expertise comes from having fewer threats. Also, Traverse is something I think, I don't even know when Shadows over Innistrad came out because I don't follow Standard very closely. I want the Mountain because Blood Moon, and also because we need to hit land drops, because if we fall behind, we're dead. This is one of those matchups where we get ahead, and we absolutely positively must stay ahead. Cut a couple of bolts because they're not great. I think we want the Huntmaster. Once again, I probably talked too much. I don't want both snaps. It's probably going to be too slow. Cut a Stubborn Denial. I want the Vapor Snags. Disrupting Shoal doesn't seem good. Black Green Tron has more 2 CMC cards than most, But hey, I'll cut Dismember because that's not great. That probably means Spell Snare comes back. Let's put the Huntmaster here because I sort things. I may or may not want Spell Snare, Stubborn Denial. I think the rest are fine. 10 seconds to take cards out. Mana Leak's going to get slow. Denial in. Maybe we just board out the Huntmaster. Let's try that. I don't have too much experience against green-black Tron. Huntmaster is better against, say, green-white. Against green-white Tron, Huntmaster is one of my favorite cards because their removal of choice is Path to Exile, and that ramps you into Huntmaster, so that's absolutely delightful. This hand gets us basic Island, but it can't find basic Forest for Blood Moon. That's a little disappointing, but we don't have Blood Moon in our hand yet. So it's not too huge a consideration. It is something to think about, though. I do believe the hand is good because we have turn 1 Delver. Followed by Interaction, Serum Visions. We have stuff to do. Chromatic Sphere makes me pretty happy. Second Stubborn Denial makes me pretty sad. The reason I enjoy our opponent having a Chromatic Sphere is it means it's not an Expedition map. And Expedition map leads to more turn 3 Trons than Chromatic Sphere does. The flip side is maybe they just have all 3 Tron lands in hand like it appears they do. But hey, nothing you can do about those games, really. We're on the draw, so we can't play Blood Moon before they get Tron online. You can't counter anything that would find them the Tron lands because they're already in their hand. So Modern just doesn't have exceedingly good land interaction. Now, them playing the Expedition map means maybe they don't have it yet. There's a chance. There's also a chance that we could theoretically find a Blood Moon off of a Serum Visions. I kind of want to just get a basic island off of this, but I think that's being way too greedy. We will get a breeding pool. We can still play a Blood Moon if we happen to top deck it next turn. So that's good. We're going to start off with Serum Visions. I fetched first to not ruin the scry. That's a Blood Moon. This is how we get punished. This could have gotten us a basic forest. Of course, if we started off with the Steam Vents, we probably wouldn't have had this scenario. Maybe the Vapor Snags shouldn't be here, because they only hit Wormcoil Engine. That shouldn't be in the deck. I think we drop Vapor Snag, put Huntmaster in. We can counter a turn 3 Karn, so that's some amount of upside. I think our best play might just be to cut ourselves off of green, especially because they have Tron online, but they can't do anything with it. I mean, they have 2 mana. 2 mana on turn 3 is not great. Expedition map means if we do Blood Moon, they can tutor out a forest to cast a natural state. They could also, what's the word? They could just use the Chromatic Star to produce green mana. We technically should have countered that, I think. I was doing a lot more talking than I was thinking, I believe. So I do think we Stubborn Denial the Chromatic Star, just because it gets them 1 card less deep, and it makes them jump through slightly more of a hoop to deal with this Blood Moon. The good thing is, if they do spend time dealing with Blood Moon, we just get a basic forest. So it's not too bad. Of course, if they deal with Blood Moon, they're probably also casting something like a Karn in the same turn. So that's the bad side. We are, of course, going to go for it, though, because I think it's a bit of a high variance play at this point. But when they're facing down just Delver, and they already have Tron online, I think high variance is what we want to go for. So we're just going to lock both of us somewhat out of the game. They still have ways of producing colored mana. We have a way of producing colored mana. If they want Blood Moon to stay here, I'm fine with playing a game where we both effectively have 1, 2, maybe 3 lands. That's something my deck does better than Tron. Of course, we do need to clock them, because if they hit a few more land drops, they can just cast Wormcoil. So we're going to need to get this show on the road. What color do they produce? I'm waiting to see. If it's green, there's... Okay. Oh, I was thinking Chromatic Star. They're cracking it anyways. They got a basic forest. At least they don't have Tron this turn. If we top deck a Blood Moon, that would be so sweet. Ooh, Sylvan Scrying. Getting a basic swamp? That would be so cool. Sanctum of Ugin. That's a lot less cool. Would have been absolutely badass if they just completely played around Blood Moon. I think we just play the Wooded Foothills here. Not a lot of value in playing the Steam Vents. And if they do deal with the Blood Moon, we can get Forest out of our deck sooner rather than later. So that seems okay at least. Sanctum of Ugin is interesting. Maybe they don't run a swamp. Tron probably can't afford to run a lot of basics. Oh man. Thragtusk is going to wreck us. Their clock is a lot faster than our clock. Having these 3 counterspells really hurt us. So maybe Spell Snare is worse than I thought. Also, no, I had tapped out for Blood Moon that turn. Did they even Sylvan Scrying? Was it that card that they used? Yeah, they did. I was going to say, why didn't I counter Sylvan Scrying? But I was tapped out. That would be why. Yeah. Blood Moon definitely hurt them more than us, considering the fact that their deck is built around taking advantage of big things. But Blood Moon did not help us nearly as much as we needed it to. So we can technically squeeze another turn out of this game, but I don't think it helps us. We can chump, go to 4 or 3 if we chump Thragtusk, which is technically better. They get a 3-3 instead of a 5-3, but we don't have an out, so we're just going to take it, die, and go to game 2. We are going to cut the Vapor Snag for 1 copy of Huntmaster. I think you like that. I don't think we want second Snapcaster against Tron. Snap was literally the card that won us the game in game 1. But we also have Traverse the Ulvenwald, so we technically have 3 Snapcasters. And you just don't want to go for mid-rangey stuff against Tron. I'm just going to make sure that we don't want any of these. Maybe Engineered Explosives could be good, but I think it's too slow. We don't want Sweepers. Surgical is at least somewhat interesting because we could theoretically get out, say, all of their O-Stones. Lightning Bolt could be good. I like not having Vapor Snag. Mana Leak might get better on the play. Disrupting Shoal. We have... Disrupting Shoal basically is just going to counter Expedition Map. 5, 9, 9 plus 2, 11, 12, 16, 1 CMC cards. Maybe Shoal's at least okay. Don't think we want these bolts, and I don't think we want Dismember. So these are the 4 cards I'm considering. Extraction, I don't think it's worth the card to get all of their, say, Oblivion Stones out of their deck when you don't know if they have any in hand. With Gitaxian Probe, that could be a lot better. Maybe if we were ambitious enough to want to run Peak in Probe's place, Extraction could be good, but I don't think so. Mana Leak is a consideration. Cards that we want less than Mana Leak. Probably the second Stubborn Denial. That seems pretty bad. They don't have too many cards that we're interested in. I don't think we want this Snapcaster, so Mana Leak or Disrupting Shoal. And is there another card that we want less than one of these? Stubborn Denial seems okay because we do generally want to slam a 4-power creature, and they run a lot of non-creatures. Oh, we have 3 Stubborn Denials. Maybe we end up cutting one. Cut one for a Mana Leak? Is that good? Tron has a lot of non-creature spells. I think we want those. Spell Snare? I think we want the Disrupting Shoal. I think that's better because that lets us tap out for a threat while slowing them down, which is a good thing. But do we want Mana Leak more than a card? I think I want the 4 bolt effects, I want the Blood Moons, I want the Curiosities. Is it worth it to cut Huntmaster? Do we cut Huntmaster? I think we do. It makes Disrupting Shoal ever so slightly better, and I don't think Huntmaster is where we want to be. Maybe the Huntmaster plan is just good for when you're going up against green-white Tron, maybe even green-red. I don't know how much different green-black gets from green-red, but I think maybe Huntmaster on the draw, Mana Leak on the play, but Huntmaster on the draw just seems slow. I don't really know. This hand is functional, but honestly, it's kind of bad. We can turn 3 Blood Moon. Actually, turn 3 Blood Moon with Serum Visions on turn 1 seems at least okay. If we were on the draw, this would be worse. We also do need to find a threat as soon as possible off of the Serum Visions, though. So I don't think I want to slam Blood Moon unless we do find a threat. Having a Goyf would be pretty nice. Neither of these is Tarmogoyf. Traverse could find us a basic forest, but I really don't think that's where we want to be. Serum Vision seems at least okay. The downside to going with Serum Visions is we can't interact with them and Blood Moon on 3. And it looks like Blood Moon on 3 might be what we need to do. We'll Serum Visions first because we don't know what we're drawing. Okay. I do like Hooting Mandrills quite a bit, but I'm worried that we're going to be way too slow. They're going to turn 3 Tron us with almost certainty. Maybe we hold up Mana Leak, and then we Mana Leak them on turn 3, taking out whatever they play. But if they have an O-Stone, we basically straight up lose the game. Which makes Ancient Grudge at least somewhat appealing, but we need to play Hooting Mandrills before Blood Moon. We drew a second Blood Moon, which is absolutely awful. Let's bottom the Ancient Grudge. I think Oblivion Stone is just going to hurt us enough that we can't really deal with it. I want to Lightning Bolt them on the end step, because I really want to find a way to cast some Blood Moons, as well as a Hooting Mandrills. So we're going to do that now. Even if we kept Ancient Grudge, you can't grudge a map, because they'll just crack it in response. We can slam a Hooting Mandrills, but then if they have pretty much anything, we are in really bad shape. So if we play Steam Vents, we could Mana Leak and Stubborn Denial if necessary. I don't know if that's relevant, because Mana Leak gets everything but probably O-Stone as far as their big cards go, so we'll just play this tapped. Of course, we could theoretically use the Stubborn Denial to get an extra card in the graveyard. Maybe I should have considered that. We have 3 lands. We need to A, draw a land so that we can Hooting Mandrills and Blood Moon in the same turn. No two ways about that. Do they have Natural Tron? They got a Sanctum of Ugin. Yeah, they just had it. That's okay. So we Mana Leak. I might have shot us in the foot by not shocking. Well, we're going to Mana Leak that very excitedly. So we have 4 cards in the graveyard. If we draw a fetch land, it's a 5th. If we draw any other land, okay, it was neither a fetch land nor a land, we can no longer Hoots and Blood Moon. We did not get punished for not denial. Well, actually, we didn't get punished for not having denial because they didn't play a non-creature. So that was irrelevant. We're going to play Hooting Mandrills, tap these 2 lands so that we can hold up Tarfire, not necessary. Stubborn Denial is the card that we want. I want to Denial a Karn or an Ugin, possibly just an Oblivion Stone. I can live with that. I'm flexible. And then I want to Blood Moon and just hope that they don't have whatever they need. Unfortunately, our opponent's at 17. That's a high number. O-Stone, if they have another Urza's Tower, we're in a lot of trouble because they can play it and then slam a big win con. But I think we need to Denial this, because if we don't deal with O-Stone, Hoots is going to die, Blood Moon's not going to last very long. Seems like a good idea. That's thankfully going to be a basic mountain. Oh, let's get a forest. Hell yeah. That's a good draw. 1, 2, 3. Or we want to hold up the Tarfire, because we may as well cast it. And maybe if we hold up a Steam Vents, there's a small chance they'll get confused and think maybe we have blue mana, which is why I chose it over the Stomping Ground. Well, that's unfortunate. And they have the land to use it, too. Oh boy. We're in trouble, guys. Ancient Grudge? Destructive Revelry. Curiosity is going to use up our only blue mana that we have currently, but it gets us a card closer to Ancient Grudge / Destructive Revelry, so I think we take it. If we can deal with that O-Stone right now, we're in excellent shape. That is neither thing that we wanted. However, we're going to play Blood Moon next turn after they blow us up. So hopefully they can't crack the O-Stone and slam a win con. They probably can, that's a lot of mana. They need to tap 5 of these though. 4, 5, hell yeah! Oh, that's so good! That is so fortunate for us, guys. Ancient Stirrings is pretty good. They're pretty close to the hardcast threat range, which is really bad for us. If they just pick a land, okay, so next turn a Wormcoil comes down regardlessly of what we do. So we can Ancient Grudge. That seems like a pretty good tempo play. Cancel. I want to get a basic island first. We technically should have fetched on the end step to reduce the chances of drawing that basic island. We want to hold up red mana. 1, 2, 3. Go to end step. They'll probably play the Wormcoil. We'll blow it up. And we're basically riding on hopes and prayers. I believe it's 7 or more? 7? 7 or more. Nice. Nice. They can't sack it to gas up. Now, do we actually want to blow up the Wormcoil engine? If we blow it up now, it slows down their life gain and clock. Basically, we either have to choose between using the Ancient Grudge as a combat trick to blank a turn of Wormcoil, or using our mana efficiently. We only have 1 green source, but that's not really relevant. We have 2 red, so I think that's fine. We didn't find a threat. We're going to Thought Scour ourselves, hopefully finding a Hooting Mandrills, maybe a Tarmogoyf. That's a Scalding Tarn. I mean, I would have accepted Traverse, find a Delver off of it. 5 card types, so that's something. We'll go to end step. We're probably going to end up blowing up that Wormcoil and blocking a turn of lifelink. It's pretty much our out. Slow them down long enough that we can hopefully find something decent. We're going to pick that one. Red, red. I mean, if we draw Traverse, find a Snapcaster, Snap Bolt, then draw another Bolt and a Tarfire, we might be in good shape. They just hardcast an Ugin. That is no small feat. This Tron player played around Blood Moon pretty well, I'd say. That ticks down to deal with Blood Moon, yeah. And now the floodgates are open to their top decks. And we drew a Stubborn Denial. Okay, that's fine. Well, we're at the mercy of the top of their deck anyways, and we are in a very bad spot, so I'm not going to bother blowing up the Expedition map. I think that's a waste. I do believe we need to deal with the life-linking creature, though. So if Ugin, we're going to take 3, Ugin ticks up for 3. That is a 3-turn clock. I don't think we can draw lightning bolts fast enough to deal with that. Which of these has lifelink? Our only out, of course, is to deal with the lifelinking one. We'll just go to end step after that, crack the Scalding Tarn. I really don't want to see any lands. We are also... Yeah, okay, so that makes Snapcaster awful. It also makes Goyf awful. They're doing it now, which means Snapcaster's theoretically live. We might be able to draw a bolt them. Did I click the wrong token? Yeah, I hovered over the lifelink one, and then I blew up the death touch one. That's unfortunate. We basically no longer have an out. I'm not sure we had an out anyways, but now we're pretty low on outs. We can at least... Well, we could hardcast this, but I think we're pretty happy to delve the one land. It makes Tarmogoyf bad, but Tarmogoyf is already garbage at this point, so that's not a huge kerfuffle. They could tick down Ugin. Ah! Did we actually target the Death Touch one? That was Relic, Ancient Grudge, targeting Worm, and it doesn't tell us which Worm. But I guess it was the Death Touch one. Well, that's something not to do. Make sure you click the token you want to blow up. It's a good start. If we had blown that up, they would be at 7. Let's see if they can deal with Hoots. If they can't deal with Hoots, and we draw a Lightning Bolt, well, I mean, they essentially can deal with Hoots no matter what, because they could always just tick down. But maybe they don't want to do that. So we'll see. If Hoots connects, and we draw a Lightning Bolt, then we effectively won the game, because we did want to blow up that lifelinker. I don't generally count misclicks as mistakes. Is Ugin ticking down? Ugin's ticking up, so he is going all out. We have a shot here. We have a shot thanks to this Stubborn Denial, which will counter pretty much any top deck. No, they're holding back the Lifelinker, which would have had Death Touch. Ugin also kills us in 2 turns. We have a Traverse. Blood Moon is bad. Snapcaster's kind of bad too. And we don't have enough mana to hardcast a Hooting Mandrills. I believe we just lose. If Huntmaster was in our deck, we could have traversed for it. So maybe that's a point in... It's certainly a data point in Huntmaster's favor. We can't traverse for it. If we had a Hooting Mandrills, we could play it, because now we have more cards in our graveyard. But unfortunately, no such luck. Do we even bother attacking? If we attack, we lose, so we're not going to do that, because then they just hit us for 3. Tick Ugin up, bolt our face. Unfortunately, we're still pretty much dead. Even if we blew up the Lifelinker, we wouldn't have gotten there because they're smart enough to hold their token back to play around any nonsense that we could produce, and they know that as long as they survive, Ugin will kill us. So, sorry guys, we could not get there even if we clicked properly. We tried though. We tried. They tick up. I wouldn't attack. There's no need to. Do we have some sort of magical card? We don't. We will play Delver. We're going to attack at this point because we're going to go out in style. No, we're not hitting Ugin. We're dead anyways, so we're just going to get in whatever damage we can, just for the fun of it. And we'll go to end step in case they cast a non-creature spell before using Ugin, because I would happily cast this Stubborn Denial. Yeah? You want to take my card? We go out on our own terms. Alright, well that's going to do it. GG's. Good game's opponent. That didn't show up because it's already done. Hope you guys enjoyed watching us play against Tron. And I'll probably head in another one right now. And I think that's like 7 videos for this week, which is more than I think I've ever done. So I'm playing a lot of Magic. That's good because I like playing Magic. I hope to see you guys next time.